I hope things are good with the family. Tell your kid I still owe him that Red Sox cap. Anyway, this isn't your average catch-up message. I need to get something off my chest. I can't sleep, can't eat, and I can't stop thinking about what happened last October. You always said you liked the creepy stuff, right? Well, buckle up. This one's real. I lived it. And I'd trade anything to forget it. My name's Brian Wick. You know that. Born and raised in Boston. I'm a gardener by trade. Real hands in the dirt, seasonal cycle kind of guy. Helps keep me grounded. Literally. I've got a wife, Mallory, and 2 kids, ages 10 and 6. They're the only reason I haven't completely lost it since what happened. And you know me, I lift weights like some people meditate. Always in the gym before work. Helps clear the head. And I'm in good shape, not trying to brag, just explaining that I'm not the kind of guy who scares easy. Until Michigan. It was supposed to be a simple autumn hike. Me and 3 other guys. Marcus, a school teacher, Kyle, ex-army, now a mechanic, and Jared, paramedic, the joker of the group. We'd met through a local wilderness group that plans seasonal hikes around the Great Lakes. This time we were doing a day hike through Ottawa National Forest in Michigan's Upper Peninsula, known for its thick woods, chilly air, and those eerie pockets where sound seems to die mid-step. We all had knives. Marcus carried bear spray. Kyle had a 9mm he was licensed to carry. I brought a camp axe, mostly for looks. We weren't expecting trouble, just a good hike and a few dumb stories around the fire before heading back to town for a beer. The weather was grey, heavy clouds hanging like wet wool above the tree line. Classic autumn, yellow leaves, muddy trails, wind whispering through dead branches. You ever feel watched before you even see anything? Around the mile 4, the woods got weird. Dead quiet, not peaceful nature. Quiet, wrong quiet. No birds, no wind. Even the crunch of our boots seemed muffled. Then Rex, no, not a dog, a guy named Rex, we ran into near the trailhead. Solo hiker with a military backpack came trotting back down the trail, looking pale. "You guys heading up Black Hollow Ridge?" he asked. "Yeah," Kyle answered. I wouldn't. He wouldn't say more, just shook his head and vanished back the way we'd come. Something about his eyes, white, twitchy, scanning the tree line, stuck with me. I figured maybe a bear, maybe he saw a cougar, but now? I think he knew. We kept going. Of course we did. We made it to a narrow clearing and stopped to rest. That's when Kyle stiffened. "You see that?" he said. I looked. Between 2 trees, way back, almost too far to make it out, was a figure. Skinny, tall, too tall, leaning at an unnatural angle, like it had forgotten how to stand human. At first I thought it was a trick of the light, but then it moved. Not stepped, shifted. And it wasn't looking at us, it was studying us. We backed out of the clearing, not running, not panicking, just not dumb. But the thing, it moved with us, always behind, always just out of sight. But you could feel it. It was playing. Kyle swore and unholstered his sidearm. Jared tried to laugh it off, but it sounded forced. We started picking up the pace. We weren't lost, not yet, but the air felt heavier with every step. Then Jared screamed. He was just behind me 1 second, the next he was gone, snatched. No sound of struggle, just a scream and then nothing. We doubled back, shouting his name. Kyle fired a shot into the trees. Nothing. But then We found his flashlight, crushed, like someone had stomped it into the dirt, and nearby scraps of his jacket. Blood. That's when I saw the tracks. Hoof prints, but wrong. Too long, too deep. Not deer, not moose. And beside them, hands, like skeletal fingers, dragging in the mud. I've read stories, watched enough History Channel garbage to remember the name Wendigo. When you finally made it back to cell service, after hours of sprinting, ducking behind fallen trees, taking blind shots into the woods, I did a deep dive. Couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. Wendigo lore goes back to Algonquin tribes. Cannibalism turns a man into a monster, cursed to hunger for human flesh forever. It mimics voices, stalks, watches, and when you're weakest, it strikes. People think it's just a story, a campfire ghost tale, but those stories start somewhere, man. The Michigan Dogman gets all the attention up there, but locals, especially the old-timers, they whisper about the other one, the silent one, the tall one, the one with bones too sharp and skin too tight, and a voice like cracked wind chimes in your head. That's what took Jared. Marcus had twisted his ankle on a root. We were dragging him when the sun started to dip. Every shadow felt like teeth. And then we saw it, across the path, full view. 10 feet tall, starved looking with stretched skin and a face like frostbitten leather. Antlers twisted upward from a skull-like head. Its eyes, hollow but burning like ice. Kyle fired again. I raised my axe. Marcus crawled behind a log. And the thing laughed. Not with its mouth, with the air, like the trees themselves were mocking us. It lunged. Kyle got knocked into a tree, hard. Cracked ribs, maybe worse. I swung the axe but barely scratched it. Marcus threw his backpack at it and screamed, "Run!" I didn't argue. I grabbed Kyle, half-dragged him, and we ran. Through the brush, over roots, until we hit the old ranger trail and saw the lights of a village about half a mile away. Civilization, power lines, life. The Wendigo didn't follow past the edge. No one believed us. They found Jared's hat. That was it. No blood, no body, just his hat and claw marks in a nearby tree. Kyle's still in physical therapy. Marcus doesn't talk about it. Me, I can't go near the woods, not even a park. Every autumn, I board up the windows and keep my family close. The worst part? Sometimes I still hear it. In dreams, in quiet moments. That rattling breath, that awful voice. Hungry. Anyway, I needed to tell someone. Be careful next time you're hiking. If the woods go silent, leave. No photo is worth your life. Hey brother, it's Vigo. I know it's been a while since seminary. I think, maybe longer. Life happened, and I guess we both followed our callings in different ways. But what I'm writing about now, this isn't a theology. It's not about God or church politics or even New Orleans. This is something darker, and I need someone to hear it. Someone I trust, even if you don't believe a damn word of it. This happened 2 summers ago. I haven't told a soul. I buried it, prayed on it, denied it. And yet, I still wake up at 3:07 every morning, drenched in sweat. I still keep a crucifix under my pillow like a child, afraid of monsters. Because, my friend, the monsters are real. I was driving north through the Blue Ridge Mountains. Rain had been falling since Asheville. One of those thick, humid southern downpours, not thunderous but constant, felt like the sky was bleeding slowly. The windshield wipers had been squeaking for miles, and my old truck, a beaten Ford I've kept since my father passed, was starting to protest. I was headed to a small town called Boone for a funeral. A former parishioner friend of my father's, I'd agreed to give the eulogy. Rain slowed me down, so when I saw a gas station with a flickering open sign of a bend in the road, I pulled in to stretch, fill the tank and maybe grab some stale coffee. It was one of those lonely pit stops, the kind that still sells chewing tobacco behind glass and smells like mildew no matter how new the mop water is. The station was half surrounded by pine trees, shrouded in fog and steam rising from the ground. I stepped inside. Old man at the counter nodded without a word. I nodded back. I had just stepped out to pump gas when I heard something, a screech. Not animal, not human, something in between, something wrong. Then I saw a blur across the tree line, something huge, fast. I froze. You know that feeling, the one you get right before a deer bolts across the road? That instinctual pause before chaos. Then it exploded from the trees. It wasn't a bear, it wasn't a man, it was tall, emaciated, bones showing through skin like wet parchment stretched over a skeleton. It had antlers, crooked, blackened things, and a face I can barely describe. Hollowed eyes, teeth like icicles, breath that steamed even in the sticky summer heat. It charged the back of the building. I heard glass shatter, a scream, the kind you only hear when someone realizes they're going to die. I dropped the pump and ran back inside. The old man was gone. Just gone. Blood on the floor, his glasses crushed near the counter. I looked up and saw the creature just beyond the broken window, dragging him into the woods. I backed away. My hand instinctively went to the side of my coat, not for a Bible but for the 45 I kept holstered beneath it. Yeah, I still hunt. It's not a sin to be prepared. I moved slowly, heart hammering. The thing hadn't seen me yet. I stepped behind the drink coolers and crept toward the back room. That's when I heard another sound. Someone crying. A woman, maybe mid-30s, curled up behind the ice chest. Her name was Ellie. She was a hiker, stopping in for directions. She had a small hunting knife on her hip and a cracked phone in her hand. I got her out of the back as quickly as I could, but then the thing came back. It crawled along the ceiling like a spider, bones cracking and rearranging as it moved. I raised the gun and fired. The bullet hit square in the shoulder, but it barely flinched, let out a sound like metal scraping metal and lunged at us. We ran. Outside, the rain had turned to mist. I shoved Ellie ahead and bolted for my truck. The creature followed, fast. It was toying with us, snapping tree branches, growling, circling. I started the truck just as it slammed its clawed hands onto the bed. The whole frame buckled. I floored it. Gravel and mud sprayed as we tore down the mountain road. The beast running behind us on all fours like some demonic greyhound. For 5 miles it chased. At one point it slammed into the side mirror, shattering it. I fired again out of the window, hit something. It let out another inhuman howl and vanished into the trees. Ellie stayed with me until we reached the ranger station. We filed a report. They said it was a bear, maybe a cougar. Strange weather messes with animals. That's all we got. She left town the next day, changed her number, moved out west, I think. I haven't heard from her since. I started digging, not into scripture, into folklore, native legends, old Appalachian accounts. That's when I found the word Wendigo, a spirit of hunger, born from cannibalism, despair, and isolation, said to dwell in the forest of north and the mountain shadows. It devours flesh but never fills. It imitates human cries, sometimes it speaks. I hadn't heard of it before, and yet now it's all I see when I close my eyes. The following week I returned. Yeah, I know, stupid, but I couldn't leave it unfinished. I needed to see the place again, maybe to prove it was real, maybe to feel brave. The gas station was closed off, crime scene tape and boards across the windows, but I walked the edge of the forest behind it. That's when I heard it again. A voice, soft, childlike. "Father." I turned, gun drawn. Nothing there. But I swear something laughed. It wasn't in front of me, it was inside me, laughing in my bones. I ran, didn't stop until I was back in the truck, engine screaming down the mountain. I still wear the collar, still give sermons, but something's changed. I look at the woods differently. I bless my ammunition. I sleep with the lights on. I don't know what it wanted, I don't know why it let us live, but I do know this. It's still out there, watching and waiting. If you're ever in the Blue Ridge and the rain starts to fall and the trees go quiet, get in your car, lock the doors, drive. Don't look back. And if something calls your name in a voice you recognize, don't answer. Yours in fear and faith, Vigo.